Second Nature Health Training presents From Farm to Factory and Back Again, empowering you to make healthy choices second nature. Segment 1, A Much Too Common Journey. It's an honor to have your time as I share with you my report on healthy living. My name is Rob Ferguson. I'm 63, married for 43 years to my high school sweetheart, father of two, and grandfather to two girls. Nothing exceptional there, nothing different there. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a certified nutritionist. I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm none of those things. I'm just a regular guy that went through a lifetime of being obese, ultimately morbidly obese. I was overweight my entire life and eventually grew to over 300 pounds. I had type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and all of the lifestyle-related diseases associated with a lifetime of poor choices. 9 years ago, I was told to change my diet and my lifestyle, or die in 10 to 15 years, mostly very uncomfortable, and I was subject to the possibility or the probability of several surgeries. I spent a year researching what I had to do to finally change my way of life. I did not want to give up on this. I wanted to watch my granddaughters grow and see what kind of adults they were going to turn out to be. And I wasn't going to do that if I was dying and dead and in care of others. And in July of 2007, I began living a new lifestyle built upon habits that I had installed over the previous year through a process called quantum process, where I reprogrammed my subconscious to really desire and seek the healthiest foods. And that was a challenge. What are these foods, okay? But I figured it out. And now 8 years later, I maintain my weight at an ideal 175 pounds. And I haven't had a craving for anything. I haven't been hungry. And I haven't lost control over my choices since that date in 2007. And that's after a lifetime of trying everything to change without success. I built a company upon that foundation, Second Nature Health Training, and have designed a program called Second Nature Permanent Weight Control. I invite you to listen to these audios to hear my report on the history of our food, the impact our food has on everyone, and what each of us can do to reverse the obesity epidemic in America. One of my favorite authors on the whole topic of food is Michael Pollan, the author of Food Rules, an Eater's Manual. And in Food Rules, Michael Pollan says there are basically two important things you need to know about the links between diet and health. Two facts that are not in dispute. All the contending parties in the nutrition wars agree upon these two facts. And even more important for our purposes, these facts are sturdy enough that we can build a sensible diet upon them. Here they are. Well, Michael Pollan writes in this fact, populations that eat a so-called Western diet, generally defined as a diet consisting of lots of processed foods and meat, lots of added fat and sugar, lots of refined grains, lots of everything except vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. By the way, whole wheat is not whole grain, invariably suffer from high rates of the so-called Western diseases, obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. Virtually all of the obesity and type 2 diabetes, 80% of the cardiovascular disease, and more than a third of all cancers can be linked to this diet. 4 of the top 10 killers in America are chronic diseases linked to this diet. The arguments in nutritional science are not about this well-established link. Rather, they are all about identifying the culprit nutrient in the Western diet that might be responsible for these chronic diseases. Is it the saturated fat, or the refined carbohydrates, or the lack of fiber, or the trans fats, or omega-6 fatty acids, or what? The point is that as eaters, we know all we need to know to act. The Western diet, for whatever reason, is the problem. And it's really a problem. And it's really what I had to learn and I had to re-engineer what I looked for and thought about food in order to conquer this problem, because trying to conquer weight management and weight control using food that is laced with addictive qualities is not easy. You get rid of them and the whole job becomes a lot easier. Now, before we get going any further, there's some key words that I think deserve a good definition. The first is health. And I looked these words up first in Webster's and online to get the definition, and I'm going to comment a bit on each one. The word health, not the absence of illness, but the presence of a healthy body and mind. So health, not the absence of illness, but the presence of a healthy body and mind. I used to tell people when asked, "Hey Rob, how you feeling these days? You healthy?" Heck yes, I'm healthy. I haven't spent a day in the hospital in my entire life. I'm great, man. I can do everything. I play tennis. I go fly fishing. You know, the fact that I used to smoke and I was 100 plus pounds overweight didn't seem to enter my mind. In fact, I was terribly unhealthy. I was on my way to ruin and didn't know it. I was simply able to do things even though I was terribly unhealthy. Let's define the word food. Material consisting essentially of protein, carbohydrate, and fat used in the body of an organism to sustain growth, repair cells, provide the proper maintenance for vital processes, and to furnish energy. Well, food in the Western diet is not really food. It's edible food-like substances, as Michael Pollan calls them. And he's right. Calories. We all hate the word calories. Well, calories, by definition, a unit equivalent to the large calorie expressing heat-producing or energy-producing value in food when oxidized in the body. Now, the key with calories is it's really time-consuming and it's problematic to sit and look up each food, add the calories, and have it go in. It's much easier to learn the basics of calories, the basics of food, and to be able to develop an eye toward the right foods to eat and approximate what their calorie content is. You'll be losing weight and obtaining and achieving and maintaining your ideal weight before you know it. Another word, natural. Natural foods on the label. Natural. Well, food that has undergone minimal processing and contains no preservatives or artificial additives. Well, the term natural is also a food marketer's dream. There's no government regulation on it. It means absolutely nothing. You can slap natural all over the place, and it's supposed to give you an idea and a feeling that that food is healthy for you. But in many, if not most cases, it's not the case. It's not necessarily that healthy for you. Don't let the word natural sway you one way or the other. Organic. As it relates to food, the word organic means grown or made without the use of artificial chemicals. Well, at least organic requires evidence, requires an independent body to come and look at what you've done and determine whether or not you are using pesticides and artificial ingredients and artificial chemicals in your food or not. Well, these words are all really important if you want to try and overcome food issues, eating issues, dietary issues. If you want to achieve good health, you better know you better know the meanings of these foods and how they impact the foods that you eat. With this information, with this wisdom, it's a lot easier to go about life and to maintain what you eat. To have the healthiest, sexiest body and greatest energy possible, all it takes are two things: the desire for a healthy body and the desire to be at your very best, and the will to adopt healthy habits, if you can learn what those habits are. If you have the desire, as most of us do, the will that it takes to achieve a healthy body is so much easier when you don't have to overcome addictive additives prevalent in processed foods. And if the real food you do eat has the nutrition your body needs, hunger doesn't rear its ugly head. So what happened to our food? Let's listen to segment 2. What happened to our food? And find out.